Nah, niggas think for themselves. I don't care if a nigga disagree with me. Like I told y'all today, you got to bring your information. Don't come with no feelings. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I see it like this. Man, look at man, we got hold on, man. We give praise, esteem, and honor to living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach as they pick it up in John 5:39. Like our people in Detroit, there's certain stuff that they do. We don't do it. They ain't gonna be like, what's wrong with you niggas? Okay, they keep the Sabbath in the daytime. Start in the daytime, we don't. I don't. It means nothing to me. We've had that conversation before. I'm like, shoot, bro, that don't line up with the testimony as far as I see. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Everything got to line up with the testimony, but it ain't no angst or looking at them crazy. It ain't. It really an afterthought. It ain't even a thought. Then my niggas, regardless, it doesn't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these brews get taught. I told you they get tossed off about this here, or you got to see it how I see it. You got to see it how the words see it. You ain't got to see nothing how I see it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because at the end of the day, it's the word that matters. It's the word that matters. That's the only thing that matters. Nothing else matters besides that. It's not about, my doctrine or this. What does the book say? That's what the book say, then that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? But even if it's a difference of point of view, you still my nigga. That's not gonna change that. I'm not gonna I can't fool with him. That's whole stuff as far as my concern. You know what I'm saying? We got brothers that we rock with, Brother Neil rock with them if there wasn't any word involved. Yeah, it's been some people around here like, well, if it wasn't no word, well, I wouldn't fool with you because you's a square and a lame. You's a buster. You know what I'm talking about? I don't fool with your kind. But because we on the same type of time, I'm gonna love you because we just that there in the third. But if I had a choice of personal time, I'm not spending no personal time with you. You's a square. And not just a square as far because you don't do X, Y, Z, like you have a lame character or something mentally wrong with you. You don't operate in a masculine fashion. I have no desire to be in your presence. Definitely don't want you in mine. You know what I'm talking about? But then you got people like, bro, I wouldn't care if it wasn't no word. You my nigga, I'd kick it with you regardless. See, a lot of these dudes, they be faking like they got love for dudes only because the books say they got to have it. It don't come from the heart. See, if it comes from the heart, even if I wouldn't hang with you, I still love you, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do this or do that. But you got people like, hey, man, word or not, that's a man. That's a solid dude. I can rock with it. Then people feel like, because when we didn't have to feel like, because we all in the word, everybody going to hang together. People have different personalities. You know what I'm saying? So most of the time, people gravitate to people who have similar personalities and similar interests as they do. I mean, come on, man. The Lord had 12 apostles, and hey, man, shoot, he viewed Peter different than he viewed everybody else. He loved John more than all of them. You know what I'm saying? So that's a fallacy of a female mind state. The thing, yeah, you all on one accord, you all right with one another, but at the end of the day, that's just adulthood, man. Everybody know that from elementary school. You had people you was friends with, and there were people you were closer to than others, and it was dudes you hung with more than others. That didn't mean your other friends you ain't like them. You know what I'm talking about? You and this nigga just had a lot more in common, or you click different. Man, that just is what it is, man. Niggas be acting like hoes, man. We grown men. John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they was testified me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Praise be to Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Let's get this Psalms 81. That's why I told y'all that the other day, shooting a couple times, man. A lot of dudes, man, they don't really love people in this way for real, because they don't love themselves. You can't love nobody if you don't love yourself. So you're not going to love your whore. You're not going to love your wife. You're not going to love your kids. You're not going to love your brother because you don't love yourself. You know what I'm talking about? And then if you weren't raised in a loving environment, then you don't even know what love is. And then if you weren't raised by a masculine man, then you wouldn't even know how a man manifests love to begin with. So when you come across the love that Yahuwah bring forth, since he is the manliest man that could ever be called a man, you know what I'm talking about? His love fly right over your head too. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't know what love is. They ain't never experienced it. They've experienced an emotional attachment and falsely called that love because you had a feeling. You know what I'm saying? And that's not love, especially not the love of Elohim. Ain't nothing emotional about his love whatsoever. There's no emotion involved. He's a ruach, and ruachs do not operate off of emotion. At that point, you saying that he's flesh, and that ain't right before God. Also, praise be to Yahuwah, man. Each say, man, his father, it came along, coming along well. You know what I'm saying? Everything looking on the up and up for now. So praise the Lord for that. Psalms 81:1. Sing aloud unto Elohim our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the Elohim of Jacob. Take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Yasharal and the law Elohim of Jacob. This he ordained in Joseph a testimony when he went through the land of Mizraim, when I heard a language that I understood not. I removed his shoulder from the burden, his hands were delivered from the pots. You called in trouble, I delivered you. I answered you in the secret place of thunder, and I proved you at the waters of Meribah. Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will testify unto you, O Yasharal, if you will hearken unto me. There shall no strange God be in you, neither shall you worship any strange God. I, Yahuwah, your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mizraim, open your mouth wide, and I will fill it. But my people would not hearken to my voice. Yasharal would have none of me. So I gave them up unto their own heart's lust. They walked in their own counsels. Oh, that my people have hearkened unto me, and Yasharal had walked in my ways. I soon have subdued their enemies and turned my hand against their adversaries. The haters of Yahuwah should have submitted themselves unto him, but their time should have endured forever. He should have fed them also with the finest of the wheat, and with honey out of the rock should I have satisfied you. So as we back this up, we were talking about signs. You know what I'm talking about? And we're dealing with this part talking about, oh, my people, I will testify unto you if you will hearken unto me. I want you to come to Exodus chapter 4. We'll look at the first part. We mentioned it last night. We'll deal with it now. Before we go to Exodus 4, come to Exodus chapter 3. Exodus chapter 3. You can pick it up at verse 1 for now. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father, all the priest of Midian, and he fed the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of Elohim to Horeb. The Malachim of Yahuwah appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. He looked, behold, the bush burned with fire. The bush was not consumed. Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, while this bush is not burned. When Yahuwah saw that he turned aside to see, Elohim called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses, he said, here am I. He said, draw nigh hither, put off your shoes from off your feet, for the place where you stand is Kadosh ground. Moreover, he said, I am the Elohim of your Abba, the Elohim of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob. Moses hid his face. He was afraid to look upon Elohim. Yahuwah has said, I've surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Mizraim. I've heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. I'm come to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, a large, unto land flowing with milk and honey, and to the place of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now, therefore, behold, the cry of the sons of Yasharal has come unto me. I've also seen the oppression where the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now, therefore, and I will send unto you Pharaoh, that you may bring forth my people, the sons of Yasharal out of Mizraim. Moses said unto Elohim, who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, that I should bring forth the sons of Yasharal out of Egypt? He said, certainly I will be with you. This shall be a token unto you that I have sent you. When you have brought forth the people out of Mizraim, you shall serve Elohim upon this mountain. Moses said unto Elohim, behold, when I come unto the sons of Yasharal, they shall say unto me, the Elohim of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? Elohim said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, you shall say unto the sons of Yasharal, I am, have sent me unto you. Elohim said moreover unto Moses, thus, Shalom, man, thus shall you say unto the sons of Yasharal, Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, of Isaac and Jacob, have sent me unto you. This is my name forever. This is my memorial unto all generations. Now, y'all remember, right? I am defines to what? What does it define? What does it mean? Oh, you forgot? Elohim and I am are two separate words.
Like came to be or something?
Came to be or exist. Remember, Yahushua told them, I am. He told them, I am self-existing. I'm self-sustaining. So he was letting them know the self-existing one has sent me unto you. Because a lot of people are like, well, how could God do this here? He exists upon his own merit. You understand? So come over here to Exodus chapter 4. Let's begin to look at some of these things. 4 and 1. This is the first sign to deal with, that signs are for those who do not believe. And he's literally going to lead off with that off the top. Moses answered and said, but behold, will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, you who have not appeared unto you. First quarter. Now see, pause, right? I mentioned this last night. Come over here to Matthew 16. Now see, there's a difference. Matter of fact, before we go to Matthew 16, come over here to Luke 16. Let me do that. Let me do Luke 16. I ain't gonna read everything. 16 and 16 and 22. Luke 16 and 22. It came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the Malachim into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, seeing Abraham afar off, Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Abba, Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. I just want to share this here just on general principle. Go to Isaiah 33 about him being tormented in this flame. You know, this for the niggas that like to say that everlasting fire ain't in this book. I told you I hit my homegirl off with this here. She was like, where did Jesus say people went to hell? I said, baby, he said that several times. I don't know what y'all be talking about. She said, I've been reading the Bible since I was 8 years old. I ain't never know it was in there. I said, you weren't supposed to know, baby. You needed a man to show you. Your daddy was in the house. Why you ain't run across this information? It look like I ain't got verse 33 in this book. Chapter 33 is not in this book. Let me swing around here and do it like this here. I got the phone. That's what you see. Most of them use their phone. 33 and 10, if you would. Shoot, man, you could make it 7. 33 and 7. Behold, their valiant ones shall cry without. The ambassadors of Shalom shall weep bitterly. The highways lay waste. The wayfaring men cease. He have broken the covenant. He have despised the cities. He regard no man. The earth mourn, languish. Lebanon is ashamed, hewn. Sharon is like a wilderness. Bashan and Carmon shake off. Now will I rise, saith Yahuwah. Now will I be exalted. Now will I lift up myself. Whether you notice or not, this is speaking to his return and what he shall do to people, to take us back to the Psalms 114. And you know, the testimony of a trumpet being ordained in Joseph. You shall conceive chaff, you shall bring forth stubble, your breath as fire shall devour you, and the people shall be as the burning of lime, as thorns cut up shall they be burned in the fire. So you know, in Hebrew chapter 6, he tell you, you know, those that are thorns are cast away and are burned. That's what he was referring to. And of course, you know that when he talk about casting people away, cast the good, keep the good, cast the bad away. They'll be thrown into a furnace of fire. There'll be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Hear, you that are far off, what I have done, and you that are near, acknowledge my might. The sinners in Zion are afraid. So let's look at sinners now. By definition, you got kata. So what does this mean? These are people who are exposed to condemnation, reckoned as an offender. They are afraid. What is afraid? Afraid is pakad. They fear, they tremble, they are in dread. They are in awe. They cause the dread. Let's just take a look at that. These are not necessarily sinners in Zion, but let's just take a look at that in Revelation chapter 6. Well, your hand's cold, boy. 6 and 15, if you would. Make it 6 and 14. Well, your hand's cold, boy. And when Shamahim departed as a scroll, when it rolled together, every mountain and island were moved out of their places. The kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the chief captains, the mighty men, every bondman, every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come. Who shall be able to stand? See, we just didn't read it in Isaiah 1, where it's really talking about Zion, where it's really talking about those sinners being fearful, dreading the day of Yahuwah. Now let's read it again from the top. Isaiah 33 and 14. The sinners in Zion are afraid, and fearfulness have surprised the hypocrites. And let's look at hypocrites by definition. Hypocrites by definition is kanaf. That is someone who is hypocritical, soiled with sin, impious, godless, profane, irreligious. So when you see hypocrite, for the most part, it's not necessarily talking about someone who is an actor or a liar. It is dealing with someone who is common, who is unholy and unfaithful. So what you see here is that fearfulness has surprised the unfaithful. Let's take a look at unfaithful from the Lord himself. Let's take it over here to Luke chapter 12, if you would. You still holding Luke 16 and something else I can't remember. Luke chapter 12, verse 42. Luke 12 and 42. And the Lord said, who then is a faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make him ruler over his household, to give portion of meat in due season? Baruch is that servant whom his Lord, when he comes, shall find so doing. Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. But and if that servant say in his heart, my Lord, delay his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants, the maidens, and to eat, drink, and to be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he look not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and he will cut him asunder and appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. So what you have here is that's what you see here. Again, hypocrite in English and hypocrite in Hebrew are two separate definitions. Hypocrite in English translate to an act like an actor. If you was to call an actor a hypocrite, you would be accurate, because a hypocrite is someone who plays a role or a part. When you look at it in Hebrew, it's someone who is irreligious, impious. Pious by definitions mean faithful. So when you're looking at hypocrite, for the most part, if the word kanaf is used, it's dealing with an unfaithful person. You know what I'm talking about? And of course, that would be contrary to Yahuwah, because he said he is the truth, and that is the amath, he is faithful. You know what I'm talking about? See, when you look at a lot of people in this text, they were faithful in everything that Yahuwah sent him to do. That's why he said he that's faithful over little is faithful over much. Most people ain't faithful over nothing. And that's why he don't give them nothing. And when I say give you something, I'm not talking about no houses. I ain't talking about no cars. I ain't talking about no money. I ain't talking about none of that. I'm talking about the things that benefit from the Ruach Elohim. He don't give them nothing. They don't get no knowledge. They don't get no wisdom. They don't get no understanding. They don't get faith. They don't get joy. They don't get peace. They don't get strength. They don't get nothing. You know what I'm talking about? They get absolutely nothing, because most people are not faithful. You know what I'm saying? People are only faithful up to the movement of convenience. When it is no longer convenient, then they will no longer be faithful, which means you were never faithful to begin with. That's why when I hear people say, I lost my faith, you can't lose what you never had. You can't lose faith, you never had it. Now, you could say, my faith has been weakened, and then that would be an accurate statement. See, your faith can be weakened, your faith can be strengthened, but you can't lose it. You know what I'm talking about? So do you mean to tell me you stopped trusting in the dependability and reliability of Yahuwah? No, you didn't. You never had it. You know what I'm talking about? And a lot of brews need to start saying that out loud. You never had it, my G. He can tell you, I've been saying it for years. You know what I'm saying? I done told him I could look and tell, like, hey, that nigga don't want to do that. I just keep it to myself. You can tell by how people behave and move. You really don't want to do this. This ain't what you want to do. You feel like you're compelled to do it out of necessity for whatever you believe that necessity is for you. You know what I'm talking about? But you don't want to do it. You know, one of the first elements, a nigga don't want to do things compared in his word, they complain. And you've seen that in the law, in the wilderness, they complain. If there's anything related to the service of Yahuwah and you complaining, that means you don't want to do it. And guess what he said he feel about murmurers and complainers? He utterly despises them. That's why your forefathers died in the wilderness complaining. Y'all remember years back, we went through that in detail. That man don't like murmurers and complainers. He told you don't be like that. Because you know what murmuring and complaining shows? A lack of trust. And why would I want somebody around me who don't trust me? I don't want nothing to do. See, most men in this society deal with people who don't trust them like a jackass instead of sending them on their way. I'm not finna be dealing with somebody who don't trust me. What's the point? Because I'm not finna go out my way to make you trust me if I've already shown that I have the attributes of dependability, reliability, and consistency for you to trust my word. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. Yahuwah don't even try to convince people of anything. You know what I'm saying? That's why I tell you, like, I'm not finna try to convince nobody of what I'm preaching for. What? I'm not trying to convince you of nothing. You can believe what you want. This book say what it say. And I'm not gonna move. Man, we were talking about it earlier, man. Because we were talking about Bird and Christian like this here with them nigga churn. Because I rode past that where they building the KIPP school on 103rd. And I'm like, you know, them nigga churn in there. And it made it click in my brain. I was telling you, I said, it made it click in my brain how Christian and Bird be punching them churn in the mouth. But you know why they be punching them churn in the mouth? Because them nigga churn trying to get them to do stuff that they don't want to do. And you know what it shows? It shows the principles of manhood that I won't move off my principles to appease you. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you want me to do. And you think because I'm quiet or you think I'm weird because I won't join in with your nigga stuff that I'm different, but I'll punch you dead in your mouth. And then you'll realize I got more heart than all you niggas. Just because you live around a bunch of foolishness and nonsense, but he showed more manhood than both of them because a man should never be moved off his principles. I said what I said. I stand on what I stand on, and I'm not going to go back and forth with you about it. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's a beautiful thing for a young man to have that in his heart because I came to handle business. You want me to come over here and I don't want to do it, and you keep messing with me. So I'm going to punch you in your mouth. Now, I don't recommend them punching them in their mouth, but I understand. No, I'm dead serious. Like, I'd be like, why you, man, they couldn't keep fooling with me. Why they fooling with you? They be asking me to do this here and I don't want to do it. If he was grown, I'd be like, shoot, son, shoot, you did the right thing. Hit him in his mouth. Hit him twice. Maybe they'll leave you. But one thing them nigga churn gonna stop doing, asking them niggas to do folly. But you know why them young men don't want to do no folly? They've been raised with the word pretty much their whole life. I'm not finna let you persuade me to do this. That's how every man's supposed to live their life. I'm not going to let nobody persuade me to do something that I don't want to do, that goes against the principles that I stand for. You know what I'm saying? That's exceptional for young men to be like that. Especially like he older. Bird ain't number 5. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it shows but like I said, right? Y'all remember that proverb, what it say? A child is known by his doings, whether he be good or whether he be evil. So for them to show that them children got good in them. Somebody on the outside will look at them and think that child has a behavioral problem. No, that young man is a man. He thinking like a man. He moving like a man. You're not going to understand it because you ain't going to take the time to figure out why he punched this little nigga in his mouth. You know what I'm talking about? Because you ain't going to ask him because you don't care. You just see a behavioral problem. You talk to him. I look at him and say, I see a young man. Because guess what? You come to get me, like I told this dude, man, when I was young, he kept trying to give me some coke. We in the house. He like, you want this here? I said, bro, I don't smoke no coke, bro. He tried to offer it to me again. I said, boy, you put that coke in my face one more time, bro. I'm going to slap this bill on the ground. You can sniff it off the carpet. I'm going to punch you in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Because now I feel disrespected, like you think I'm a junkie like you. You know what I'm saying? You at my homeboy house. If that's what y'all do, that's what y'all do. But I don't do that. And I don't appreciate you trying to entice me, persuade me, or peer pressure me into doing something I don't want to do when I explicitly told you I ain't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's disrespect. We all men here. If I come to you and be like, bro, drink this liquor. I don't drink. Drink this liquor. That's disrespect. Because I just told you as a man I don't do that. So you just told me my manhood meant nothing to you. So I'm going ahead, little nigga punch him in his mouth. Punch him in his mouth. And guess what he learned that day? That's a man to be respected. Leave that man alone. Don't ask him to do something he don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, you would want to, for them to do that with words, but at that age, they don't have no impulse control. You know what I'm saying? They impulse, say hit him in the mouth. They don't hit him in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? That's like I said, you got to know that, man. Kids ain't got no impulse control. They're going to go with the first thing click in their mind as this is how I resolve that. Now, of course, as he get older, you teach him, son, that's not how you resolve conflict. You know what I'm saying? You try to resolve conflict without actually getting physically violent. But at that point, they felt like they were being sized. So I'm a teacher. When it comes with the word, you don't have to beat people up. But if you feel like you being sized, you have to let them know. Don't disrespect me like that. You know, there's a song for that. Y'all know what song I'm talking about? Where he say something like that? He said, oh, you thought altogether I was like one of you. He said, but I'm going to come and I'm going to check you in your face. You know what I'm saying? That's in Psalms 50. He said, oh, you thought I was like you. See, that's what a lot of nigga children think. See, they think because you look like them, you on the same type of time that they on. I'm not on what you on. You know what I'm saying? I don't do what you do. Don't come at me with that. That's just a hallmark of being a man. Most men raised by women, they don't operate like that. I'm telling you, it's always a difference between a young man who got his daddy and one who don't. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not, like I say, right? Outside people, they're going to look at that. That's violence. That's not violence from them young men. It's not violence at all. But men are vilified. You can't be a man. You know what I'm saying? You do something that a man do, you're toxic, or you're just that, there, and the third. No, I'm a man. As a man, the only thing you have is the principles that you stand on. We stand on the principles of Yahuwah, so you got to be willing to die for that. You know what I'm saying? Even if we wasn't in the word, that's what we were taught. You got to be willing to die for what you say you believe in. And you got to be willing to do it not just when it's convenient. You know what I'm saying? People like to ride when it's convenient. But will you stand pat when it's going to inconvenience you? That really shows the hallmark of the faithfulness of the individual. Will you still do something if it inconveniences you? Or is you only going to do things when it's convenient for you? Because if it's convenient for you, this ain't what you really want to do. That's no matter what it is. It ain't just got to be no work. Oh, this inconvenience in my life, I don't want to do it. This ain't what you really want to do. Because what you want to do, you're going to do it when it's easy. You're going to do it when it's hard. You're going to do it when you don't feel like it. You're going to do it when you feel like it. You're going to do it regardless because this is what I do. That boy say disrespect requires pain management. That boy. I understand his sentiment, though. Yeah, and I rode past that. It made me think about them young men. Made my heart smile. That's what they supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, though. But I say that because somebody enticing them to do evil, and they didn't want to do it. It ain't even the checking. For me, it's that these young men were enticed to do evil. They didn't want to do it. They resisted the persuasion of the people around them. That's what make a nigga heart smile. I could have easily fell in line with what these people were doing, but I have a strong enough mental character to say that I will not be enticed to do something that I know, number one, is not right to do. And then I don't want to do it because it's not right to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what I looked at, because I didn't even realize they were building that kip over there. I don't trust them. I don't trust no school that market to niggas owned by white folks and don't know white folks really go to the school. I don't trust that. It's just me personally. That's weird to me. You know what I'm saying? All their promotional stuff got black churn on it. Ain't nothing but black churn go there. You put them in black neighborhoods and it's owned, funded, and ran by Caucasians. I don't trust that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand that some people homeschool, some people don't. I don't really get into people with that. I don't get into people where you send your children to school. I'm just saying that particular school, I don't trust it. I don't, because I know about marketing. You're marketing to black children. All your promotional material got black children on it. You're owned, funded, and operated by Caucasians, yet it is not a predominantly Caucasian school. Why? You know what I'm saying? That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, when I rolled past it, I thought about them young men today. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to my wife about something else. When I said I didn't even know they put a kip right there. It made me think about when we was over here in Bird, say he had punched him churn in the mouth for messing with him. You know what I'm saying? Then it made me think about what you said with Christian be punching him churn in the mouth for messing with him. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, you know what? Them young men all right with me. Because they creative young men. They ain't done this. They're not unintelligent. Them children leave them alone. Them young men grades are exceptional. So it's not nothing wrong with them. It's the people around them. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what I mean. Like if you see Nisha know, because she in the educational system, they not gonna look at the totality of what's going on. They just gonna label that child. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna talk to that child and ask him X, Y, Z, A, B, C. They're not gonna do that. They just gonna label him and say he a problem, and that child's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because little boys operate different. Like you see little boys, they play fighting, and stop, don't do that, but they just testing their physical strength, seeing how ain't really nothing to stop. That's how young men interact. That's why you notice mothers stop them, fathers don't. You know what I'm saying? They out there playing, and one of them children slap that little boy upside the head. Guess what? The one who got slapped understand where his limits are to not deal with another man that way, because you might get slapped. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff that they got to know that women don't have to deal with. It's just now if they got sisters, them sisters be on some old, you know what? I'm gonna slap you back. And then that's what we gotta say, no, baby, that's not what you do. You're late. Isaiah 33 and 14. Matter of fact, shoot, ain't none of the churn around here, ain't none of them churn evil. To be honest with you, they just churn. Churn do what churn do. They test their limits and their boundaries, and they explore because things are new to them. Because you know an evil child when you see one. And I can tell you, ain't none of these children evil. They just need to be occupied with the right things. I can tell you this here from being in the school system. A lot of times if you see a young black male child acting out in classes because the curriculum bores him. It doesn't stimulate him. It's not what he needs. And most boys need to be a part of something that causes them to actively do something, create, or use their brain to solve problems. All that sitting in there regurgitating information back that don't do nothing for a young man. I don't care what race he is. That doesn't do nothing for a male. Men don't learn that way. You know what I'm saying? Men are creators, so they have to be doing something that actually actively causes them to use their mind and do something. You see a child acting out in class, he's bored. So he doesn't know what to do other than let me do something to cause some type of disruption because this bores me. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what I mean by looking at totality. You got to pay attention to your son. Because you'll see, so he will act like that at home. That means this environment does not inspire him. You know what I'm saying? But see, they don't want to do all that. And I'm saying that's for boys, period. That ain't just for black boys. It's just 3 times as worse for black boys compared to other boys. But they trying to destroy young boys in schools, period. You know what I'm saying? 33 and 14. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Filthiness have surprised the hypocrites. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? Just so you can know for informational purposes. Devouring is a call. It means to eat up, devour, and to feed, to consume, also to consume a fire. Fire, by definition in this passage, is the word ish, and that is literal fire or flames. Also, Elohim's anger, that's literal fire. Everlasting burnings, olam is for everlasting, so we don't have to deal with that. Burnings is mokade, a burning mass, a burning heat, literal fire. Back to Luke 16. So I'm going to tell you something real, man, and every man in here know it. It says something about a man, especially a young man, if he can resist negative influence without being prompted to do it. You know what I'm saying? Without somebody telling him, don't do that, that you did that on your own. Because that's something that a man has to learn and master, not to be influenced by his environment. It's very easy to be influenced by your environment. Luke 16, where we were at? 24. And he cried and said, Abba, Abraham, have mercy on me, send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in the water and cool my tongue, for I'm tormented in this flame. Abraham said, son, remember you in your lifetime received good things, likewise Lazarus evil things. Now he is comforted and you are tormented. Besides all this, between us, you and there is a great gulf fixed, so that they would pass from hence to you cannot. Neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. Then he said, I pray you therefore, Abba, that you would send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Abraham said unto him, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear him. Now, see, this is the pause. Now, he's asking for a dead man to be sent to his brothers, right? Will that be for a sign, or will that be for prophecy, or both? Why would you say both? Hold on a second. Because at this junction, it don't look like that's going to make its way over here. I'll give y'all a moment to think on that. Oh, you didn't give me your why. Oh, you cool?
You said why
No, you saying that you believe it's both. I'm asking you why. Why do you believe that it is both?
Eli.
This the way yo. This the way yo. This the way yo.
Say just a sign.
My opinion, yeah.
And what would you use to justify that?
Based on what?
Hold on. I was saying if that was making his way over here or not. The Vittles.
If he didn't believe, he wanted now that he experienced where he experienced.
Oh, because he hasn't arrived.
He probably know his brothers there. And being that he never seen him.
Check on that for me if you would, please.
Why are you here?
Thank you.
They were probably wondering why and stuff. So that's why they come up there.
You good? My opinion, just based off what I was taught yesterday, that when Yahushua resurrected people from the dead, it was for the non-believers. It was a sign. So I was just going off if he's asking for.
Now, see, you know what? There's a difference in the Matthew 27 to what you see here. Let's look at Matthew 27. I want you to see. I want y'all to tell me if you see the difference. I want you to know we're not being anal right now. We got to be able to. Can we see the difference? No, because he mentioned people. No, there's a difference. Hold on, there's a difference. I want y'all to be able to pick out the difference first, and then we can proceed. Because if we pick out the difference, it very well may answer what you were asking. 27 and 50 is fine. Matthew 27. Yahushua, when he cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ruach, and behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many body of the faithful which slept arose, and came out of their graves after his resurrection, and went into the Kadesh city, and appeared unto many. So we have that, and we have this. Now, what is the difference that we see? Because here he's asking for his brothers to be what? Warned. Now, if the what you call it, man? If these men who resurrected, who were saints that were faithful, appeared unto many, what do you believe? Now, this has to be inferred, so you have to infer your understanding on this one here, because it's not explicitly stated. What were these men appearing unto many for? Were they appearing as a sign, or were they appearing to bear witness? So that's the difference that we see in between these two. One was to warn, and one was to bear witness. So they bear witness of the Son, those who rose with him. But this man is asking for a warning for his brethren, and that's why Abraham told him, you got book for that. You know what I'm saying? And why was he telling them that? We have signs are for those who don't believe, but since you don't believe, if you need to believe, you're going to have to get some book for that. No, because we have to look at a difference. He's here because of his disobedience. He wants his brothers to know, don't come here. Abraham telling them, if you don't want them to, they got book for that. Now look at what he's finna tell them. Verse 30. I'll read 29 again. Abraham said unto them, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. He said, nay, Abba Abraham, if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. He said to him, if they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. So he said, if the book ain't going to convince you, this certainly ain't. See, I was talking to Trav about what we were talking about last night about the miracles, and he said, man, so they had just had that conversation. They were like, so you saying people ain't going to do it, can't do it? Because I remember somebody asked me that same thing. I'm like, yeah, brother got powers for it. But I told you this the other night, and I'll tell you this again. If a nigga worried about seeing miracles, it's because you don't believe the word. And you need the miracles to justify what you doing. And you might as well fold up your tent and go to the house. You know what I'm talking about? It ain't never entered into my mind one time that I needed to see a miracle. Not once. And I'm not saying that on no boasting tale. I'm just being honest with you. It never entered into my mind. The only time we used to ever think about miracles was like, what a blessing it would be able if somebody was crippled, we could heal them. Because that's just more so on this person gets relief, Yahuwah gets esteemed. Not, boy, if I can heal him, then I definitely believe. I done told these niggas that before. I tell you, if this man said he moonwalked on the moon and did a backflip on it, and that's what he said, then I believe that because that's what he said. Because if he didn't do it, then what would he have told me that for? You know what I'm saying? And I know more people roll with that because you used to being lied to. So you think Yahuwah lied too, but we know what Yahuwah said. Elohim is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of a man that he should repent. If he said it, he gonna do it. Come on back over here to Exodus chapter 5. See, we gonna get to some. I told you we just talked about some signs and wonders. I didn't read Matthew 16. That's my fault. Thank the Lord, it came back to mind. I get to Matthew 16 real quick, like. And I'm just telling y'all this now. I know I mentioned it last night, but if you around here looking for a sign, you wicked and you an adulterer. That means you'll cheat on your God, boy. You'll open up your feet to everybody that passed by. Well, that's an instruction he gave to his apostles. And those greater works have been done. Just because you don't see them getting done by everybody in every dispensation of time, don't mean that they're not being done. Because that statement, that greater works than these that you shall do, he was talking to his apostles. He wasn't talking to us. You know what I'm saying? And that's some stuff that get conflated also. Because remember what Paul said, there's different administrations. There's apostles. Is everybody an apostle? No. Is everybody a prophet? No. Does everybody speak in tongues? No. Does everybody work miracles? No. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's not going to do that. Then you have to look at what's more beneficial, miracles or apostleship, because apostleship is somebody who has the testimony. We just read yesterday, prophecy is for those that believe. Miracles are not beneficial to the body. That don't benefit the body. Miracles don't benefit believers. Miracles only benefit unbelievers. And we got a bunch of believers looking for miracles to justify themselves. I mean, there's apostles in the earth because it's an official office in Mashiach. So for anybody to say that there's not an apostle in the earth is definitely woefully misinformed. You know what I'm saying? All an apostle is an emissary, an ambassador of Mashiach who was taught the gospel by Elohim and not man. You know what I'm saying? That's why people say Paul's not an apostle. The man had the gospel from Genesis to Malachi. That's what made him apostle. He said, the man told him, we didn't have this conversation before. Who Paul say taught him? He said Gamaliel taught him in the law, but Gamaliel ain't teach him no gospel of Yahushua. He ain't get that from Gamaliel. He never said that nobody didn't teach him. You see, it's not that nobody taught you, it's that nobody taught you the gospel, the mystery and testimony of Yahushua. You didn't get it from a man. You know what I'm talking about? Paul, shalom, man. Paul said clear day. I sat at the feet of Gamaliel, taught it all in the perfectness of the law. That's what he said. But when he came back in Galatians, he said, I didn't get this gospel from a man. It was revealed unto me. I'll read it to you in a minute. I'll read it to you right now. Come over here with that word, man. I can't remember the part with Gamaliel. We'll get to that in a moment. But come to Galatians. Yeah, he said they 5 minutes away with the package. Galatians 1 is what you need. Were you familiar with that, Michael? You look like, I've never heard of this type of information before. Oh, you didn't. It's an old conversation. We've had this conversation before. And when I say an old conversation, meaning we had sat, this is years ago. So like I said, that's why sometimes stuff get rehab. But we went through every job Old Testament and New, and the things that for you to know how a person qualified for said job. And about it, Mashiach, you have teachers. That's the last part we're dealing with. A teacher has to be taught by another man who has the word. Somebody who had been ordained and appointed to teach the word has to teach a man in order for him to be a teacher. A pastor and a deacon, how they mentioned, a deacon is translate the minister. There's no such thing as a deacon. A minister is the same as a teacher. And Paul lays out the qualifications for a pastor and a teacher. He has to be married. He can't commit sin. His household got to be in order. I mean, his wife has to be obedient. His offspring have to be obedient, because you can't rule over Elohim's house if you're not ruling over your own. You know what I'm saying? Then you have prophets. We know from Numbers 12, you can only be a prophet if you who have appeared to you in a vision or a dream. And we about to read how, because apostle is the highest office in the body of Mashiach. He has authority. See, this is the thing that a lot of brews get misconstrued. When people are in their own homes, no man who has authority in the body has authority over a man in his own house. You know what I'm saying? He don't have that type of authority. That man can't come in this man's house and say, you gonna do this and you gonna do that, and he don't have that type of authority. But when the body come together, anything that pertains to the service and ministry of Elohim, that man got authority over. And when that man say go, you go. And when that man say do, you do. Because if not, you just told you who you wasn't gonna go, and you just told you who you wasn't gonna do. You know what I'm saying? That's what brews get misconstrued. When that body come together, that man got authority over everybody and in that location, because Yahuwah gave him that authority. But when you go to talking about going to somebody's home, I can't go in this man's home and tell him what he gonna do in his house. He the ruler over that house. That's his house. You don't have that type of authority. That's not what you do. You see a lot of dudes who, whether they Christians or Hebrews, they abuse that authority and think that they have the ability to tell a man what to do in his home. You do not. You don't have the ability to tell a man's wife what to do. That's his wife. That's his possession. He paid for that. You know what I'm talking about? That's his. You know what I'm talking about? You have to concede. You got to yield. But when the body come together, that man got authority over anything that pertains to the ministry and service of Elohim. He got authority over that. Again, I explicitly and specifically say anything that deals with the ministry and service of Elohim, he has authority over that. Let me say that again for people who go misconstrue. If they see it later, that man has authority of anything that pertains to the ministry and service of Elohim. He has authority over that. If there's a house of worship, that man has authority over that house because he's the ruler or overseer of that house. And when them people step in that house, it's as if they are his own offspring. You, my children, this is my house, and we gonna rule by the rules of my father in my house because he gave me authority over this house. That's what he meant when he said Moses was faithful over his house and Yahushua was faithful over his house. Because when Moses was leading them people and in that wilderness, that man was over them people. He had authority over them. That's why what his name is, what that nigga name? In number 16, his name is escaped.
Korah.
That's why Korah did what he did, because they felt he's taking too much authority, and he only had the authority that Yahuwah gave him, and Moses never exceeded his authority. His authority was dealing strictly in the things pertaining to Yahuwah. That is the only time you see this man exercising his authority in the things that pertain to Yahuwah. When you walk away from here, that is on you. You know what I'm saying? You are the authority over your wife and children, and don't let none of these wicked bastards out here tell you no different. You know what I'm saying? And for them whole niggas that like to run their mouth, every young man in here know that. But we don't do that there. That's disrespectful. I'm a man, bro. I'm not finna look at no other man and tell no other man this how you got to do in your house. Now, if you ask me for some counsel or some advice, I ain't gonna do nothing but give you some game. You do what you want to with it. Because at the end of the day, that's your life. That's your house. That's your wife. Them your kids. You know what I'm talking about? You do what you want to with it. Because if you do a man like that, that means you telling him you don't believe in his ability to function as a man. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter if you agree with his decisions or not, because he got to live with him. If you a father and you got a son and you know your son go do something, you say, son, don't do that. And he go do it anyway, you know what, shoot, son, you got to live with that. That don't mean I'm finna ridicule you this, that, there, and the third, but son, you got to live with them consequences. And I very well may can't come save you from the mess that you done made. You're going to have to figure out how to clean that up on your own. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes you got to come and say, come here, son. Let me go ahead and get this rag for you and help you out. But that's why I say that come down to when you ain't been raised by no man and you don't really love the people that you around. What's good, my G? Galatians chapter 1. I pick it up at verse 3. Oh, that's where you work at, Holy City.
That ain't why I work no more. That was the spot that I was able to do.
That doesn't really say Holy City.
Ain't nothing holy about it.
They said that was set apart food. That boy say you got the. That boy say you got the. She took care of you, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I believe so.
You sit over here, bro.
No, that's straight, bro. I don't want you to.
They say they scared of you, man.
No, fear ain't hard.
No, I just want to.
I was talking standing, not you. Not you.
Hey,
No,
I was being
the
cool.
way
You
it's
know,
talking
I'm being cool. I'm saying you get more room.
She was talking about us being able to be supported by this bench.
Because
Well, why don't you come over here?
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you talking about the bench? I thought
What
you
you
was
come
scared
up
of the
with?
I was
journey.
saying, I don't
He
want to y'all don't try to sue us.
She was worried about the bench. He was worried about the journals.
It is a lot of that's
I get down.
men of dirt.
Yeah, we appreciate it, bro.
I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
Mike sat on that one.
I think little Mike plop. Little Mike's a big young man. Let's look at this here, right? Galatians 1 and 3. Let's help Michael out. She don't know nothing about this here. I ain't being funny, you don't. Matter of fact, let me give you Ephesians 4 first. Let me help you out with that. Let's give you some background so you can know what's going on. I say that's an old conversation. It's all right. You can't know what I'm talking about. You know Ephesians 4, man. You pick it up at verse 8 if you would. We'll make it 7. I don't mind going back over stuff, man. Unto every one of us is given mercy according to the measure of the gift of Mashiach. You should remember that from Psalm 68 and 18, if I'm not mistaken. If that's not the verse, you can let me know. He said he took captivity captive and gave gifts unto the men, even the rebellious also, that Yahuwah Elohim might dwell among them. Wherefore saith he, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but also that he ascended first into the lower parts of the earth? He that descended is the same that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. He gave some apostles, some prophets, some evangelists. Now, an evangelist is somebody who has the gospel but did not walk with Yahushua himself or was not given it from on high. I'll get you that direct definition for that. I know on the English side, you'll see that evangelist means traveling preacher, but evangelist in the Greek definition is a bringer of good tidings, an evangelist, the name given to heralds of salvation through Mashiach who were not apostles. So an evangelist is somebody who got that good gospel, but they learned it from somebody. What was I at before? I'll just go back to the original. Let's continue. Some pastors, some teachers, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Mashiach. That is every one of those positions, Michael. That is their job. Everybody on here who listening, an apostle, a prophet, an evangelist, a pastor, a teacher, their specific job is to perfect the faithful, to do the work of the service, and to instruct the body of Mashiach. That is their job. So that's what I mean on when it pertains to things of that nature, that is what they have authority over. Anything that pertains to the work of the ministry, those men have authority over that. Anything outside of that, they do not have authority over that. That's why that's why Peter wrote in 1 Peter 5 to be examples and to not lord over the Lord's heritage with that type of behavior. Let's look at it because I said it wrong. 1 Peter chapter 5. And I'll tell you, most of the time when you see dude do that, man, it's men who just got low self-esteem. And when you hear dude say, ain't nobody gonna be my teacher, you already know you're dealing with a bussy. Once you hear a grown man talking about he don't want to deal with no type of masculine authority or leadership and he roll dolo, that's a coward. That's a man who don't want to deal with men, don't want to be corrected by men, don't want to be instructed by men. He got the mind of a woman. Because the minute that he hears something that he don't like, he gonna buck up and complain, fight, and kick because he got the heart of a woman. No man is ever gonna be offended by being under masculine authority. Yahusha himself was under the authority of his father, and he's hated under the authority of his father till he became a grown man. Ain't had no problem with it. You know what I'm talking about? Yahusha himself was under authority. He was under the authority of his father in heaven. The apostles ain't had no problem being under this man's authority. Nobody in the body at that time had any problem being under another man's authority. So when you hear big grown rusted, ain't nobody my teacher. That nigga a hoe. And I'll tell any one of them hoe niggas that to their face. You ain't no man. You know what I'm talking about? I don't care if you ain't want to be under that man's authority or not. If that's what Yahuwah led you to do, then you supposed to be a good soldier. Soldiers follow orders. You know what I'm talking about? You don't want to follow no orders. Because if you don't want to follow no orders, that means you telling me you the runner, you the general of the army. You run the show. Nigga, you's a hoe. Because guess what? Before a man became a general, he had to be a soldier. That's why you don't see young generals in the literal army. You know what I'm talking about? That's why you don't see that. You don't see young generals. You don't see young lieutenants. You don't see young majors, young admirals. You don't see any of that. It takes years of experience and perfecting before you get to that point, because that's the top of the food chain. In the Navy, an admiral is the top of the food chain. In the Army, a general is the top of the food chain. You know what I'm talking about? And y'all know y'all was in the service. Right. You don't see no young men in those upper levels of leadership. No, man, it take, man, before you even start getting to talking about a colonel, a lieutenant, you know what I'm talking about, man, you'd have to put about 15, 20 years of service in. You know what I'm talking about? But the only way you're going to see a young man is a corporal, and that's about it. And you maybe a major on a good day. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I remember my granddaddy was in the service, man. My uncle was in the service, man. I already know how that junk go. You know what I'm saying? Niggas be in the service 25 years, don't move up at all, whether that was by choice or by force. You know what I'm talking about? If you talking about especially five-star general like Colin Powell, that nigga was old when he got to that. To get the Joint Chiefs of Staff, five-star general, that nigga was old. You know what I'm talking about? That wasn't no young man. That man was definitely in his 60s. I know they try to use Jeremiah 31 to say they don't need a teacher. That's whole nigga. And I guarantee you this here. You start running across dudes that say that they don't need a teacher, ask them, was you raised by your daddy? See, that'll throw them off if you ask them that question. Your daddy raised you? Because I know your daddy ain't raised you if that's how you operate. You ain't got to add that part. You got to let them finish. Because that's a woman's mindset. You ain't the boss of me. That's what you're saying. You ain't the boss of me. That's a woman's mindset. Don't no man think like that. Because you're going to have reverence for the man who raised you. So you're going to have respect for authority because you were raised with it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to feel no need. I'm better than you. I'm a buck. No, that's why Paul say, wait on your ministry. If you're a teacher, wait on that. That man want to put you in a position, he going to put you there. And it's going to be undeniable when he do it. Nobody's going to be able to fight or refute it. You know what I'm saying? Dudes be wanting to put themselves in position, and you can tell who ain't put you there. You put yourself there because it don't never go the way you want it to go. And you got to try to prove, fight, and force the people that you belong in that spot. That means he ain't put you there. You put yourself there. You know what I'm saying? Deal with it how you want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, ain't nothing wrong with anybody. Let's let this be known too. Ain't nothing wrong with anybody want to talk about the goodness of Yahuwah. But hey, man, if you ain't no teacher, bro, you can still bear witness of the good things he did to you, bro. That's just as good. You know what I'm saying? That's just as good. Because, boy, that's a burden, boy, when you go to talk about dropping the word now. Don't you know you got to give account for every word come out your mouth and everything you done taught? You're going to have to answer for that. You're not only going to have to answer for that, you're going to have to also answer for your life along with that. See, if most dudes look at it, you would not want to do it because the only thing you got to answer for is what you done. What's a lot of niggas going to go to hell because they done put that dope on the street. A lot, they going to go. You know what I'm saying? Because he going to come see him like, bro, I didn't hire you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have mercy on his soul, man. Brother Golden, man, we used to laugh about that all the time, man. You can't go into McDonald's and start dropping fries and making burgers and think you're going to get a paycheck on Friday. Who hired you? Nobody hired you. You just came back here, put a uniform on, and started working. Then you talking about, man, where my paycheck at? I don't see you on my payroll. Who are you? How did you even clock in? I didn't clock in. Well, you don't get paid, but I made all these burgers. Who told you to do it? And what does that tell you? Oh, we've done many wonderful works in your name. We cast out devils. Man, depart from me, you work of iniquity. I don't know you. I didn't hire you. Who hired you? You can't start doing a job and think you're going to get paid and you ain't on the payroll. Man, if a nigga come walking up to us talking about, hey, man, I'm helping y'all throw this trash away with shoes, that's on you. Man, y'all have mercy on this old man. My nigga Crunch, man, we were trapping on Buck, man. He used to come in there and do all this type of stuff. Yeah, don't give me a rock. I ain't asked you to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I sat there and watched you do it just so I could tell you I ain't asked you to do that. Because I knew what you were doing and why you were doing it, and I had to teach you a lesson. Because it ain't about giving it to you, because I ain't got no problem with that. You did it thinking you were going to get paid. I thought you were doing that out of the generosity of your own heart. Because on the beach, that's what my white customers do. They do that on the strand. I can give them nothing. Here you go. You know what I'm saying? He learned though, man. But you know, that was my nigga though, man. Love that dude, man. They ain't have to do my nigga like that, nigga. First, nigga beat him up to death, man. Young nigga, man. That wasn't right. Crunch ain't bothering nobody. 1 Peter 5:1. The elders which are among you I exhort. That's tough right there. Mother Sharona says she invited a Muslim who confessed Yahushua recently to this Bible study. He seemed to need foundation of the Torah. He told me, no, the Holy Spirit would teach him. He a lie. Because guess what? Stanley know what it tell you. If the Holy, that means you would already be bearing witness of Yahushua. If that's the case, how you a Muslim talking about the Holy Spirit gonna teach you? Boy, you believe in a rock. You went to Mecca to kiss a vagina. Boy, you need a teacher, boy. That man's spirit ain't teaching you. Boy, you still in sin, boy. You still in sin, boy. You's a Muslim. You's an idolater. Man, let me tell y'all something, man. This is. You can take this to the bank, man. Yahuwah don't give his gifts to sinners. He don't give his gifts to sinners. Let that be known to anybody watching or listening later. Yahuwah don't give his gifts to sinners. He do a lot of things. He don't do that. You ain't gonna read that nowhere in this book. Oh, but what about Saul? When Saul sinned, it left. Yahuwah don't give his gift to no sinners now. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's what y'all do with your nigga churn. You reward them for their bad behavior. Yahuwah don't do that. What type of father you take him for? He said he like George Myers. Miss Mother Sharona did tell him don't come to the house no more. Did tell him don't call your phone. He followed a woman preacher. That boy, that got a problem. You know what I'm talking about? Well, I follow a dog before I follow a woman talking about teaching some words. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't follow. Guess what? I don't follow no woman in my house. So I ain't finna get in the house of Elohim and follow no woman. That's insane. Man, I ain't follow no woman, period. You know what I'm talking about? Man, I got tired of listening to my mama by the time I was about 15. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear nothing you talking about. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna say she ain't had nothing good to say every now and again. You know what I'm talking about? But at that point, it's time for me to make my own way. I ain't trying to follow no woman. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to do that. Amen, Shaul. You ain't told no story. The elders is 5:1. The elders which are among you I exhort, whom also am an elder, a witness of the sufferings of Mashiach, a partaker of the esteem that should be revealed. Feed the flock of Elohim which is among you, taking the oversight, not by constraint, but willingly. Not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Let's just go ahead and make it plain and clear what the word means so we don't have no disputes, no people talking did that in the third. We just talked about a captain, right? What does captain translated to meaning? Y'all remember that? Overseer. So what does oversight mean in here in Greek? It means to look upon, to inspect, to oversee, to look after. You know what I'm saying? So what he's telling you to do is to be he's saying, hey man, by oversight or to be a pastor, be an overseer. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're watching over for the people. That's all that means. You know what I'm saying? You're good Ezekiel 33. You know what I'm talking about? The watchman. He said, if you're going to feed, he said, feed that flock. Y'all know that from Ezekiel 34. Hit them off with that word. You know what I'm talking about? And watch for their soul. And he say, when you do that, he say, not by constraint. Constraint by definition is by force. Don't try to watch over these people by force, meaning putting yourself in a position Yahuwah ain't put you in. If he didn't make you no overseer, don't try to do it. Don't try to bully your way into something that you ain't supposed to be in. But then he said, by willingly. What is willingly? Of one's own accord, voluntarily. You know what I'm talking about? What did that take it in? What Paul stated in 1 Corinthians 9. If I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. Because see, you got some people, they do it, I got to do it, but you don't really want to do it. Yahuwah don't want nothing from nobody who don't want to do it from the depths of their heart and their soul. If you don't want to do it, the man don't want it. And I can tell you right now, Boy, if you don't want to do it, I don't want it. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down. If I was to ask you to do something and you like this, don't even worry about it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Don't even worry about it. Because why, who would want somebody to do something and they really don't want to do it? And they showing you they don't really want to do it. Oh, man, get the hell on. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to worry about it. Don't do it then. They act like they doing you a favor like this here. I'm going to do it anyway. No, don't worry about it. You ain't got to do it. You ain't got to do it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do nothing. Shoot, mess around. Look here, right? I get myself to where I desire to be. Well, I take the whole week of Tabernacles off, cook every single solitary meal, and preach the word just to show that I don't want to hear nothing from nobody about you. You got to do this or you got to do that. I don't want to hear none of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear none of that. At the end of the day, we don't even, none of us are even compelled to do any service for the body on a continual basis. You're only really asked to do it 18 times out of the year. 19, you know what I'm saying? Maybe 20, 21. Niggas should look forward to that. Boy, you got some ministries out here, boy, these people compelled to do something multiple days a week. I'm talking about whether Hebrew or not. And then people do it with a smile. Love to do it. Look forward to it. You know what I'm saying? Bring delight to them. That's why I was telling you, I was tripping on what Trav was talking about. 8 days? You don't even want to do that? You don't want to cook for 8 days? You were going to cook for 8 days, whether it was a feast or not. Right. You know what I'm talking about? You were going to do that anyway. And you talking about, where say beans at? I mean, it is, but it's always going to be like that, man. It's been like that before we were born. It's going to be like that after we leave. You know what I mean? He talking about brothers running to preach. You can't do nothing about that. Galatians 1 and 3. They ain't doing nothing but what the Lord allowed. Remember when Buddy came and cursed David? David said, let him be. If you who would bid him curse, let him curse. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it turned into a blessing for us this day. You know what I'm talking about? You got to let people damn themselves, man. Some people supposed to go to hell, man. It is what it is. But I'm just admitting that for us, like, man, you ain't compelled to do much service. Out of 360 days in a calendar year, if you only asked to serve for 21 days out of that, you're getting off pretty light. You know what I'm talking about? Cause I'm trying to tell you, right? You got people, man, they get them in synagogue. Guess what? Them people, they don't be hiring, a lot of them don't be hiring no contractors. Them people be in there laying carpet, painting, installing lights, all of that. People do it with a smile, put their resources to it and all. You know what I'm saying? That's where a lot of Christians put a lot of brews to shame. Them people don't even complain, love to do it. Because they ain't looking at it as this is a expenditure of my resources. This for the Lord. That's how they see it. This for us as a group. That's how they see it. Brews cheap. They don't want to pay for nothing. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to do nothing. But I always talking about some love. Get the hell out of here. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nobody going for that. Man, come out there, they had a bake sale, they do anything. And people mock them, but it's really, regardless of the doctrines that they in, they doing it because in their mind, this is what we supposed to do. I told you a long time ago, man, you run across some white folks in business who find out you believe the word, whether y'all on the same type of, boy, they go out their way to make sure that they can bring business your way and do X, Y, Z. Because in their mind, it's my job to be an assistant to another believer. That's how they think. They don't look at it, oh, they don't share the same doctrine. They don't care nothing about that. They wouldn't care nothing if you said you was a Hebrew, a Jew, or Israel. They wouldn't care. You believe in Jesus? Shoot, all right, brother. They click in their mind. I got to look out for him. That's how they are taught to operate. I got to look out for him. He a believer. Why wouldn't I? You know what brews think they doing? You think you're doing something because you shot some food to a homeless nigga. But it'll be a believer there. You don't do nothing for him. But you fed the homeless. It's a nigga in your congregation stomach touching his back. You know what I'm talking about? And you be like, go in peace, brother. Shalom, grace and peace. That nigga hungry. I don't even want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yes, a lot of them do that now. They're quick to tell you. You hear a lot of people talking about this. You got to feed the homeless. Do that, there, and the third. It's a nigga in your congregation got 2 outfits, and you know he do. You won't give nothing. See, by the grace of Allah, we don't have that problem around here with niggas like really tapped out. You know what I'm talking about? We don't have that problem. So that's why that may not resonate with y'all what I'm talking about, because we don't really have that problem where it's like a nigga really doing bad. You know what I'm saying? To the point you got to make sure, like, boy, you got to make sure bro ate today. Got to make sure bro got this, that, there, and the third. Boy, bro, lights finna get cut off. We got to put some money together to make sure the lights stay on. We don't have those problems. Y'all to thank the Lord.
Amen.
We don't have those problems. You know what I'm saying? That's what you seen when you seen Paul them taking up money for poor saints. It was niggas who was broke. They ain't had nothing. You know what I'm saying? See, I done told you this before. You can't really relate to somebody like that if you ain't never been in that position. If you ain't never been home, like some people like, yeah, man, I do this. Man, I've been hungry before. So I'm gonna feed somebody not because I gotta show to them I've been where you've been. I understand your pain. That's nothing. I appreciate it when a nigga gave me something to eat. When I ain't had nothing to eat, that's a different. That's why Yahuwah sometimes put you in certain positions so you can actually relate. That's what Yahushua did. He was put in positions so he could relate. That's how you can actually be a state and a comfort and a help to somebody. You understand what they're going through. And you ain't never been homeless, you ain't gonna understand how that feel. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't never been naked, you don't understand how that feel. If you ain't never been hungry, you don't understand how that feel. You ain't gonna be moved to like, I gotta do this to look like this here. You're gonna do it because it's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? If I was hungry, I want somebody to feed me. I know how you're feeling, bro. Here. It's nothing. It's not a big deal. You know what I'm talking about? See, Bruce makes stuff like that seem like it's a big deal, and it's not. It's just what you ought to do. Nigga, if you was hungry, wouldn't you want somebody to give you something to eat? Like, come on, man. Like, it's not that. And I'm not trying to minimize it, but it's not really that deep or that serious. It's just being a human being, especially if you've been there. Like, I can have empathy for a nigga in prison. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I understand what you went through, what your thought process might have been when you coming out and this, that, there, and the third. I done been there. I understand. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they don't really understand. Like, everybody, at the end of the day, we all flesh and blood, deal with the same things that everybody else deal with. And at the end of the day, most people just want somebody to be able to hold them up if they down low. You know what I'm saying? That's about it. You know what I'm saying? Now, we can't walk around here and give you no emotional support, but we can give you some spiritual support. I can't support you emotionally. I don't know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? When I say I don't know how to do that, meaning I can't tap in to support your flesh. I can tap in to support your inward man. I can't support your flesh because your flesh going to feel different tomorrow. Shoot, might feel different 15 minutes from now. You know what I'm saying? But your spirit can, hey, man, once you change that around, that can last forever. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, and I'm trying to show you the difference of focusing on the inward man versus, you know what I'm saying, the flesh. Because that's all it is. Your emotions is the flesh. And you privy to those things. This doesn't make you any lesser. Doesn't make you a lesser man or a lesser. It only makes you lesser as a man if you allow yourself to be ruled by your emotions. You know what I'm saying? Don't make you lesser. You're a human being. You know what I'm saying? But you got to sit back and look at, if you see somebody in emotional turmoil, you got to try to figure out what's the root to be able to strengthen them spiritually. What's the root that's causing your emotions to go in this direction? Because there's always a base reason for it. You know what I'm saying? If you can get to the base reason, then you can be strengthened spiritually. Like sometimes people are like, you know, send me a verse that I can read for this. I can't really do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just not no random verse you can throw to somebody. Like, what are you dealing with? What's your thought process? What you got going on in your mind? That's when you come in with the Isaiah 50, speak a word in due season. You know what I'm saying? Or what it say like in Proverbs about a word coming in due season, what it do to the heart of a man. Because that's how you just taught how to do. People send me a verse for give me some strength. That doesn't really work. How many times have you asked somebody for a verse and you just got some verses and it really came through in the clutch consistently? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, whatever you were dealing with, and the person didn't know what you were dealing with. You didn't really have that conversation. So they don't really know what to share with you. They just gonna pick some stuff out. Take this, see where it falls. When you look at that, is that really beneficial? You know what I'm saying? If we seeking to overcome whatever it is that we're dealing with. Galatians 1:3. Mercy be to you and shalom from Elohim Abba and from our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, who gave himself for our sins that he might deliver us from this present evil world, according to the will of Elohim our Abba, to whom be esteemed forever and ever. Amen. I marvel that you soon be removed, that you are so soon removed from him that called you unto the mercy of Mashiach unto another gospel, which is not another. But there be some that trouble you that will pervert the gospel of Mashiach, Though we or a Malachim from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. Michael, because I know you don't know what he talking about is what happened to Satan. Satan came preaching another gospel. That's why he got cursed. If somebody, I don't care, he told you what this did not. I don't care if it's a man. I don't care if it's an angel. If they come in to preach anything different than the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach resurrected and ascended into heaven, he said, let that man be damned. You know what I'm talking about? And we stand on that because we got book for that. Satan came with another gospel and he was damned. You know what I'm talking about? To go upon his belly. And why does he go upon his belly? Because meats for the belly and belly for the meats, and Elohim will destroy it and them. You know what I'm talking about? Because you ruled by your desires. Nevertheless, let's continue. As we said before, so now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you that you have received, let him be accursed. For do I now persuade men or Elohim? Do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Mashiach. But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach. For if you've heard of my conversion in the times past in the Yahudim's religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the house of Elohim and wasted it, and profited in the Yahudim's religion above many equals in my own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the tradition of my fathers. Let me go ahead and hit you off with that Act 22 so you can see. Act 22:1, if you would. Men and brethren, fathers, hear you my defense, which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Abarim tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And he said, truly, I'm a man which am a Yahudim, born in Tarsus, a city in Sicilia, brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous towards Elohim as you are all this day. So when you see turn around right here and say that he exceeded above all his equals, as forth as the law was concerned. You know what I'm talking about? But he just said, right, the gospel that I preach, he said, I didn't get it from a man. I got it from revelation of Mashiach. And, you know, revelation is a term that is definitely abused by people in the Christian. I got a revelation, brother. I just seen a dude say, I speak a word of prophecy that your music is going to take over in the secular and the true sector. Don't you tell that lie. Don't you lie to that man. He told me, I received that prophecy. You should have rejected it. You should have rejected it. You know why he should have rejected it? Because quote unquote truth music is not for unbelievers, it's for believers. These dudes, and we didn't talk about it, these dudes, Hebrew dudes, think they music gonna appeal to sinners. And think that they gonna hear it and say, oh, I gotta come follow this Yahushua y'all talking about. Man, they niggas ain't trying to listen to that, bro. That's not fun. And the sad part is they don't realize that it's not for sinners. It's for believers. That's who it's for. But you don't want it to be for believers because you niggas really want to be famous on the low. See, you niggas was trash in the secular world with your music. You couldn't make it. You ain't had a work ethic. You didn't have something going on. You ain't had a talent. Now you done came into word with a bunch of cornball square niggas like you, and they be pulling on your nut sacks and all this type of stuff, make you feel like you a star, and you feel like you the one. You ain't no star, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas walking around think they famous. Nigga, you rap for you. Who will sit your monkey behind down somewhere? Y'all know I ain't lying. You see them niggas do it. How you trying to be a rap star in the word? You understand how corny that is? You understand how corny that is? Just sit there and think about this here. You trying to be a rap star in the word. You're not trying to make music to glorify Yahuwah. You're not trying to make some music that somebody can listen to, that they can listen to somebody glorifying Yahuwah. That's not what you're doing it for. You trying to make, and I ain't mad if you're trying to make some money if you spend it. I ain't knocking you for that, but you trying to be a star. You trying to be known. That means your life miserable. You ain't got an interest in life. Man, a man with an interest in life don't do nothing like that. Your life is uninteresting. I ain't shooting at no one where I'm talking to anybody. You know what I'm talking about? We don't isolate nobody, man. Let the chips fall where they may. Let the stick drop where it lay. You know what I'm talking about? That junk is insane, bro. That junk is insane. Don't make no sense. How you want to be seen in the word, bro? Red carpet. I'm Hebrew Man of the Year. You know how gay that is, bro? Who appointed that? And that's not a disrespect to dude who won. I'm talking about the whole concept. I'm Hebrew Man of the Year. Man, I wouldn't even participated in no junk like that. Man, I'd have left. Y'all giving a nigga a Man of the Year award? Nigga, what this is, the Grammys, nigga? For being in the Word. Get the hell out of here, man. Nigga that told me I was nominated for some junk like that, I declined. And if you told me I won, I gracefully decline. I'm not accepting that. What is your humility in that? Can you imagine Peter saying, hey, I just got my Hebrew Man of the Year award? Come on, bro. That's how dumb that sounds. How you passing out? You can't pass that award out. Yahuwah know the hearts of me. You can't do that, boy. Like I said, that ain't no disrespect to the man who won it because I don't know that man. You know what I'm talking about? But the whole concept was stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's all right, cuz. You good? You straight? Your hand's still cold. Verse 15. But when it pleased Elohim, who separated me from my mother's womb and called by his mercy to reveal his son in me that I might preach him among the heathen, I immediately conferred not with flesh and blood. If you are familiar, Michael, and anybody else who may not aware, when he asked his apostles, who do you say I am? Do you know what Peter said? Peter, I'll help you out. Go find Matthew 16 and look it up for yourself. He did. Do you know what the Lord said back to him? It's all right. Monte, you want to give her a lifeline?
You would be right.
You want to give her a lifeline? What about you, Civic? Who want to give her a lifeline?
Only the Father revealed that to him. Only the Father revealed
that. Ain't the exact words.
How does that nigga know?
Khaled, you gonna give her a lifeline? Your husband said that.
Something along what he said. I just know.
Do you know the question?
Yeah, when he asked Peter what he was.
And what did the Lord say back? You remember what he said back?
He said, like, root for you because.
There you go. Keep on rolling with it. He said, blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this unto you, but my Father which is in heaven.
My apologies.
So, and Mother Sharona just put that on there. That's when you looking at somebody is an apostle because flesh and blood didn't share it with him. That's what Paul meant when he said, I didn't confer or sit down and commune with flesh and blood.
That's right.
That's why when you read Revelation 2 and he say some have said they are apostles, you have tried them and found them to be liars. That's how you can find a man if he say he an apostle. If a woman say she an apostle, just walk away. Don't even try it because you ain't nothing to try. You ain't gonna find a woman apostle nowhere in this book. You ain't gonna find nowhere where Yahuwah conferred with a woman nowhere in this book outside of her being a prophetess. You ain't gonna find it. Let me get the Exodus photo to make sure we got a strong lead in when we come back on the moment. That's right. Where we was at? We were probably about verse 8. You said 24? No, 4.
You just started.
4 and 2. Matter of fact, 4 and 1. That's the difference. What you say? Exodus 4 and 1. That's how you know what an apostle is. Apostle does not sit down with flesh and blood. It's strictly for the gospel of Yahushua. You're not an apostle because you know the law. Remember, we read it yesterday. You might not remember. It referred to Yahushua as an apostle in Hebrews 3. Y'all recall that? And one of the elements where you can see that Yahushua was an apostle is he is briefly alluded to in John 7 when they say, how this man write letters having never learned? You know what I'm saying? Because remember, Yahushua, he didn't confer with flesh and blood. See, you got two men in this law that you could look at as being apostles. Share it with them, Stanley.
Adam and Moses.
Adam and Moses. Moses did not sit down and confer with flesh and blood with nothing of what he was taught. He was taught directly from Yahuwah himself. You know what I'm saying? Adam was taught directly from Yahuwah himself. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Adam got to be taught directly from Yahuwah himself because he's the son of Elohim and he has to link up with that testimony. Moses had to be taught by Yahuwah himself because he was the deliverer that led the people out of captivity. You know what I'm talking about? It all lined up. It's all the same word. Yahuwah be esteemed every time, man. These boys just be capping. Huh? Noah, not with Noah because Noah come from the line of Adam.
He said he was a preacher in Hebrews.
No,
Yeah, preacher of righteousness with Noah. Yeah, say he was a preacher.
But I don't heard niggas say that your man went to Jethro, the high priest, and got the word.
No.
Yeah, that's what they say. He
That's
went to
what they
Jethro
say.
and got the word.
Moses.
But then you turn around and see he went up on the mount 40 days, 40 nights, come back with some tablets with the straight word. Wicked bastards. How can the priest of Midian teach a Yahuwah? Get your stupid butt out of here, boy. Midian. Midi foots right up your butthole. You know what I'm talking about? We tired of these niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? No, because that junk offends me. And these boys know that junk been offending me. He ain't just start tonight. Some of this stuff, I done said this stuff for years. I ain't just saying it because y'all here. It ain't the first time I said it. It probably ain't going to be the last. Exodus 4:1. Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me nor hearken unto my voice. They will say, Yahuwah have not appeared unto you. And Yahuwah said unto him, what is that in your hand? He said, a rod. He said, cast it on the ground. He cast it on the ground. It became a serpent. Moses fled from before it. Yahuwah said unto Moses, put forth your hand and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it. It became a rod in his hand, that they may believe that Yahuwah, Elohim of their fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob have appeared unto you. That's a sign. Because what he said, they're not going to believe me. Verse 6, Yahuwah said furthermore unto him, put your own hand into your own bosom. He put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, put your hand in your bosom again. He put his hand into his bosom again, plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his flesh. It shall come to pass that they will not believe you, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. Now, we'll delve into that more in depth. We talked about it before, but I guess it's about that time to bring that back around. If you want to know what sign means, sign is oath, aleph, and tau. It is a sign, it is a distinguishing mark, it is remembrance, it is a miraculous sign, it is a miracle, it is a proof, it is an ensign, it is a token. See, we talked about sign before, because remember we did one talking about his wondrous works. Pala is the word for wondrous works, if my memory serves me correctly. Verse 9, it shall come to pass that they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto your voice, that you shall take the water of the river and pour it upon the dry land, and the water which you take out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. Moses said unto Yahuwah, O my Lord, I'm not eloquent, neither herefore, nor since you have spoken unto your servant, I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Yahuwah said unto him, who have made man's mouth, or make the dumb, deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I Yahuwah? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall say. Because my Father has given me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know his commandment is life everlasting. And that's your evidence right there that he was an apostle. See, these dudes told me with the Midian. When you got Yahuwah saying right here, I'm going to teach you what to say. He said, oh, my Lord, send, I pray you by the hand. We don't need all that, because then he's going to go to talking about his brother and this, that, there, and the third. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to deal with all that part right there. Then we drop down, right? Remember, all those signs that you see him was not for the Egyptians. That was for Israel. Why? Israel didn't even know Yahuwah. They didn't even know his name was Yahuwah. Much less I am. They had been in captivity for X amount of years. You got to remember, they came in. The first few generations knew who it was, but then it said, hey, there was a Pharaoh that rose up that didn't know Joseph. So that means if it's a Pharaoh who didn't rise up again, who didn't know Joseph, and then you begin to get put into hard bondage, that means you don't begin to do what you had been doing previously, and it falls from remembrance. You know what I'm saying? The name of Yahuwah is not being promoted in Egypt. You're in a strange land. It would have took certain righteous men from generation to generation to keep that going. And when men don't hold their position, it falls. You know what I'm saying? That's why you hear women, if the men ain't doing it, ain't nobody tell your funky behind to step up and do nothing, ho. You know what I'm saying? I call you a hoe because you're trying to usurp authority and power. That's what hoes do. Hoes look to snatch power from a man. You know what I'm saying? That's what they look to do. It's a man's job to dictate. As a man, you should never follow a woman nowhere. Women are meant to be led, not followed. You know what I'm saying? And if that woman don't want to be led, you got to leave her where you found her at. You don't force somebody to follow you. They should follow willingly. You don't have to convince nobody to follow you. You remember when Yahushua walked up on his apostles, what he said, follow me. They got up. He didn't do no convincing. All them people who followed him, that 5,000 people, a multitude, that three, you think he forced them people to follow him? They followed on their own accord. You don't see the Lord forcing nobody to follow him. That man showed what he showed, he did what he did. They either gonna follow or they not. You know what I'm talking about? All that, if you got to force somebody to follow, they already showing you that they don't view you as a leader or their leader, so go on about your business. You know what I'm saying? That's why you ain't gonna never see me get up and say, oh, them niggas don't want to roll with us no more. So what? Nigga, go and do what you do. Ain't nobody gonna, but see, whole niggas really think in your heart you upset and that you want them to stay. Nigga, that's what you do with your hoe. You ain't my hoe. I don't care where you go. What that mean to me? You know why I say that? Because the word of Yahuwah is going to go forth regardless. The word of Yahuwah is not dependent on me or any other man. That word going to go forth regardless. That man has declared it. He has decreed it, and it will go forth. That man can raise up men to preach his word at any given time. You know what I'm talking about? He has done it. He is doing it, and he will do it until the mystery is completed. And dudes think that junk hinge on them. Man, that junk don't, look at, man, that word was being preached before I was born. That word was being preached when I was doing all manner of things that were contrary to his word. That word is still being preached since I've been preaching it. And when I check up out of here, it's still going to be going. It ain't hinging on that. You know what I'm saying? It's not stopping. See, dudes mad because Yahuwah don't pick them. But you know why he don't pick you. You a buster. In the surest sense of the word. You don't trust him. You don't follow him. You don't obey him. You don't do any of that. You just want to be seen. Man, you a real one. They ain't fooling with you. Look at you disrespecting my whole crew. Look at these men I got up. Look at Daniel. You a disrespect to this man. Look at we talking about the men we know who got a memorial in this text. They ain't even talking about the men who got a memorial in heaven that you don't even know their name. You know what I'm talking about? We ain't even talking about them, just the men you know. That's a disrespect to Moses. That's disrespect to Aaron. That's disrespect to Phineas. You know what I'm talking about? That's disrespect to the house of Zadok. You know what I'm talking about? That's disrespect to Elijah and Elisha. That's disrespect to Obadiah, who hid the prophets by 50 in caves. You know what I'm talking about? That's disrespect. That's disrespect to Jeremiah and Isaiah. That's disrespect to Ezekiel. That's disrespect to Malachi. You know what I'm talking about? That's disrespect to Philip the evangelist. That's disrespect to Barnabas. That's disrespect to Paul, to Peter, to Matthew. The list goes on and on. Shoot, we throw the righteous women. That's disrespect to Dorcas, Ananias. You understand me? That's disrespect to Mary. That's disrespect to Joseph. That's disrespect to Zacharias, the father of John the Baptist. It's all disrespect. You know what I'm talking about? Because these honorable people, these men and women named remembered in heaven, just memorial. And y'all niggas won't hear what you want. It's disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And you think he gonna let you roll with him? Think you gonna besmirch that name? And the men who up under it, you crazy as hell. And when I say crazy, I'm talking about crazy as the grave, because the grave don't make no sense. He told you that. I disannul your covenant with death. It don't make no sense to be in agreement with death. You got to be a special type of stupid to do that. And to know better. Come on, man. These niggas crazy. I don't even think I read Matthew 16. Let me get this. Let me drop down here to verse 27, man. Get this rolling, man. You slide on out of here, man. It's 9:45. You know what I'm talking about? Yahuwah said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. He went, met him in the Mount of Elohim, kissed him. Moses told Aaron all the words of Yahuwah who had sent him and the signs which he commanded him. Moses and Aaron went, gathered together all the elders of the sons of Yasharal. Aaron spake all the words which Yahuwah had spoken unto Moses and did the signs in the sight of the people. And the people believed when they heard that Yahuwah had visited the sons of Yasharal, that he looked upon their affliction. They bowed their heads and worshiped. They had to show them signs. They didn't believe. They didn't know to believe. See, most bruisers get stuck. What you mean they didn't believe? You can't believe in him whom you've never heard of. That's why he gave him a word with them signs. Give him a little bit of prophecy. Give him a little bit of signs. I know you don't believe. Let me show you a sign. Then on top of the sign, let me give you a word. So when you hear that word and them signs come together, you're going to do just what they did. Believe and bow your head and worship. You know what I'm talking about? It's a beautiful combination. See, we don't need all that. You should just need a word. But we're going to delve in them more definitely because it's more. Because he said, hearken unto me, O Yasharal, and I testify unto you. I'm Yahuwah your Elohim, who brought you out of Egypt. Open your mouth wide, I'll fill it. You know what I'm talking about? Let me get this Matthew 16 out of the way. He give you what you're looking for. Ain't that what the Lord told you? If you hunger after righteousness, you shall be fed. You shall be filled. If you thirst after righteousness, you won't be thirsty. Matthew 16:1, the Pharisees also with the Sadducees came tempting, desiring that he would show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. In the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. Oh, you hypocrites. Remember, why is he calling them a hypocrite? They are unfaithful. Not that they liars or pretending, they're unfaithful. You can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times. A wicked and adulterous generation seek after a sign, and there shall be no sign given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonah. And he left and departed from them. And when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, is it because we've taken no bread? When Yahushua perceived, he said unto them, oh, you a little faith, why reason among yourselves, because you have not brought no bread? See, he went off on about that. You thought I'm talking about some bread? Do you not understand neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, how many baskets you took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, how many baskets you took up? How is it that you do not understand that I speak not to you concerning bread, that you should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees? And they understood how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. He had to go for, because that's what you do with your sons. You're talking stupid. That means you ain't been paying attention to what I've been telling you, what I've been showing you. Now, of course, he ain't like this. So you big dummy, but he was harsh and he was very direct. You don't remember that? What make you think I'm talking to you about some damn bread? You know what I'm talking about? So that's what you're looking at. It's an old video, man. What type of bread you eating? You better pay attention to that. What type of bread is you eating? You eating moldy, dusty bread, or is it the shoe bread, fresh, set apart, right out the oven, still warm? You know what I'm saying? You like your bread warm, don't you? Look like you like breadsticks. You like breadsticks? I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I like rolls. You know what I'm saying? Buttered roll.
You like a croissant.
I'm with you on that. I can get jiggy with that. You know what I'm talking about? Croissants, sometimes they make me sick. Be a little too buttery.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Talking about, if you're really talking about some bread, I like biscuits. But hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. I appreciate y'all time this evening. Indeed. You know what I'm talking about? Appreciate y'all this evening, man. Bless out the house. Hallelujah. Yahushua, Yahuwah willing, man. We pick it up on tomorrow. Make it do what it do. We still gonna be talking about a little signs and wonders, man, and the difference between the sign and prophecy. Because basically that's what the tail end of Psalms 81 is all about anyway. So Yahuwah willing till tomorrow, man. We'll do it again.
All right.
That's it.